Howdy musicians, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, arpeggios. So in the music theory world, you hear a lot of people talking about scales, and we've talked a lot about scales. We've done a couple of videos on them in the past, and we'll continue to do some videos on them because they're useful and awesome, and that's kind of what music is made of. However, there's something that's even a little bit more useful and awesome, and that's arpeggios. So what the heck is an arpeggio? Arpeggio is just a fancy Italian word for a broken up chord. When we play chords, it's a cluster of notes that happens all at once. We hear one sound, and it's just those notes coming out at the same time. An arpeggio is that same collection of notes, but we play them as individual notes instead of as one group. So instead of just one sound, we hear individual notes. And we can use these to build melodies or whatever we want to out of them. Bass lines, anything like that. And we can mix up the order of these too. We don't have to just go in straight ascending order. Just like chords, how we can rearrange the notes, and as long as those same notes, it's the same chord. Same thing with arpeggios. I could play these out of order and it's still a G arpeggio. Arpeggios and chords are very similar. When we play them all at the same time, it's a chord. When we spell the notes out individually, we call it an arpeggio. Arpeggios are not chords. They may be made of the same notes as our chords, but we don't really use them that way. Instead, we use them a little bit more like scales to build melodies and things that look like melodies, like bass lines. Melodies are made of two kinds of motion. We have stepwise motion and we have leaps. Stepwise motion is when we go up and down the scale in whole steps and half steps, just climbing up and down the scale like we would a ladder. Leaps are when we move in anything more than a whole step. So a step and a half is a leap. 9 steps is a leap. Anything bigger than a whole step is going to be a leap. When we move in stepwise motion, we're almost always going to be walking up and down that scale. When we move in leaps, we're almost always going to be leaping between notes in the arpeggio. You hear arpeggios used in music all the time. There are certain instruments that can only play arpeggios, like bugles. Even some really complex pieces of music can be written using only arpeggios. If you caught the song at the beginning of the video, every note in there was in the arpeggio for that chord. When I was on a G chord, I was only playing G's, B's, and D's. When I was playing a C chord, I was only playing C's, E's, and G's. When I was playing the D chord, I was only playing D's, F sharps, and A's. If you want to look more into that, I'm on Patreon now. Check out the link in the description below where you can go and sign up for the Musician's Corner tier. You'll get access to a whole video that just walks you through that song. So let's talk about how to find some of these arpeggios. Now this is going to go pretty quickly if you've seen our other video on roots, thirds, and fifths making up major chords, because surprise, major arpeggios are made of the same notes as major chords. Same thing. So we're actually going to go through the same process. So let's start with the key of G. So if we have a G note, all we have to do is just count to 5 to find our G major arpeggio. Because again, it's the same notes in a G major chord, right? So we have root, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we just take the root, third, and 5 out of that, those are the 3 notes in our major arpeggio. So we just G, B, and D. Just call out the names of the notes G, A, B, C, D, and then just skip every other one. G, B, D, G, B, D. And it's always good practice just to throw the root on top again. G, B, D, G, and just finish out with the octave so that you have the full range of all of the notes that we're going to use in that arpeggio. It may not seem like it makes a difference for major triads, but when we get into some other chords, using that note, sometimes when we add in extra chord tones, it does get a little bit squirrely, so it's helpful to know where your bottom root and your top root are. So now let's do another example. Let's move to the key of C, right? So we have C, D, E, F, G. So again, we're just going to take the root, third, and fifth out of that. C, E, and G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. C, D, E, F, G. We're just going to take root, third, and fifth. C, E, G. And that's our C major arpeggio. Again, throw the root on top. C, E, G, C. And always play things going forward and backwards, or ascending and descending. Okay, so let's mix it up a little bit. Both of those examples just had natural notes. So let's do one with some sharps in it now. So let's do the key of A. So A is going to be A, B, C sharp, D, and E. A, C sharp, and E. We're going to take the root, third, and fifth of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, B, C sharp, D, E. A, C sharp, E. And again, throw the root on top. What about an E chord? We do the same process. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Root, third, and fifth. So that's going to be E, G sharp, and B. And again, throw the root on top. So now, just to cover the other side of the coin, let's do some flats. Let's do the key of E flat. So this is going to be E flat, F, G, A flat, and B flat. Same process, we're just going to take the root, third, and fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat. So we're just going to take the root, third, and fifth. And again, throw the root on top. So now that you know how to find these, let's talk for a second about how to practice these. So it's one thing just to find the notes that we need for the arpeggio. For a G chord or a G arpeggio, G, B, D, G, right? So once you find those, that's great, but how can we practice these in a way that's actually going to be useful to us and actually make us better musicians? Well, in order to gain full utility out of this, what we really want to do is find not just this G, this B, and this D. We want to find all the G's, B's, and D's. So at any point, anywhere on our instrument, we can go into a G arpeggio. So let's do a couple of these. So let's start with just the G arpeggio, G major. So we're going to find all of the G's, B's, and D's that we can in this position. So when I get up to this top G, I can't really reach the next note, so I'm not even going to worry about it. And I want to find all of the G's, B's, and D's that I can reach in that range. Now keep in mind that there may be some notes that are a little bit lower. So let's take a look at that example. So if I do a C arpeggio and I hit all of the C's, E's, and G's that I can in this position until I run out of notes that I can hit and I come back down, there are actually a couple more notes that I can hit in this position. They're just below my root note here. There's actually a G and an E, which are also in our arpeggio, that I haven't hit if I just stop here. So you really want to start on the root, go all the way up as high as you can, come back to your root, go all the way down as low as you can, and then come back to your root. It's important to start and end on the root because it gives your ears something to lock onto so you know that that's a G arpeggio and not some other chord. Maybe C, a D, maybe an A, or an E. But you get the idea. Basically, we just want to try a variety of different chords staying in one position. And that gets us switching between these things like we would switch between chords in a song. Well, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something here. And don't forget to check out that Patreon link so you can check out that exclusive video where I break down the intro song and talk about the arpeggios that are in that, as well as the PDF download that goes along with that. If there's anything that you want to see, drop a comment down below and I'll try to get to it. Practice hard and we'll see you guys in the next one.